Hi everyone, and bonjour from Paris, France. This is a bit of a special video. I wanted to speak about this topic in general and for some time, but because there's only a few, 3 and a bit more weeks left for that, and I was only aware about a specific thing about this consultation only a few days ago, thanks to Blair Bowman, who is Whisky consultant and a broker on LinkedIn. So I was aware only of that. The fact that this consultation, I'm going to explain to you what it is all about, was also opened. Of course, it's open to UK residents, but it is also open to non-UK residents, and I am one. So that's why I thought it could be interesting, because I guess people living in the UK and passionate about whiskey know about this already, but not everyone. When I speak about it, I explain a bit that on social, not on social media. I reacted on social media to Blair's post, but when I speak a bit on the whiskey community, Discord and else, people didn't seem to be really aware about that, and aware mainly that we are allowed to participate. So I want to do this video to share my views about this, but also to mainly to call people to participate to this, because I think we who are passionate about whiskey have our say, can have our say about that, whatever our opinion is. And I will give you, I will tell you what it is and give you a few questions. There are 50 questions, so I cannot give you all the 50. Some are repeating some of the previous one as well, so it was a bit complicated. But I will give you some examples. I will also give you the pro and cons about what this consultation is about. If you have read the title, this is a consultation from the Scottish government on restricting alcohol advertising and promotion in Scotland, but of course that means also it will have an impact on the whole UK. I did took a bit of time, not enough probably, but to get to some facts and figures and statistics to help me explain my opinion. And before I forget, this is one of the most important video in the way that this is one of the most important case where you have to go into the description. I know not everyone does, to have the links to the consultation to start with, but also the links to some articles that I find useful to understand the debate. Articles about alcohol consumption in Scotland and UK and England, but also articles about different aspects linked to whiskey consumption and whiskey economy as well. Right, try to be tight about this, but it's not easy. Plus, and you saw that in the bit provocative thumbnail, I will try at the end very quickly. We will have, of course, to get back to this, to give you a bit of anticipation of what advertising of a label this time. The consultation, mind you, is not about whiskey labels, but on the way I see this and the questions, it obviously leads, in my opinion, for the next step or next law to the question about labels. That's why I did this, and I will explain it to you as well. Right, so context, then give you the questions, some of the questions, then the pro and cons about what is suggested, and at the end where it go to label wise, but at the end also the impact on some brands. And it's not by chance that those bottles are here from this one to the others, not the two ones. You can't see them all, but right, okay. Yeah, also, if you do the consultation, but I'm going to explain you a bit more about that, you have to disclose what you are. I mean, not everything, but what you are regarding to the whiskey industry. So for me, I was a bit, I didn't know really what to say. Direct link, indirect link to the whiskey industry. I selected direct, while I think probably it's indirect in my case, because I've been recently a consultant for a French whiskey distillery, but in the past I also have been for a few years, well, a long time ago, brand ambassador, if I may say, for an Australian distillery in France. So obviously I'm linked to the whiskey industry in a way, so yeah, I give them some transparency about that. Yeah, also there's something I have to disclose first. So first, yeah, I'm part of the whiskey industry in a way, and in another way I am they give the definition of influencer, which I didn't really like. They use the influencer name as if it was only paid promotion and something only about advertising. I don't agree. For me, influencer is someone who have some knowledge, not necessarily always, unfortunately, but some knowledge about whiskey in that case, but also his opinion, and that his opinion might be variable enough for some people, let's say, to influence maybe them for in their purchase, etc. So this is the way I intended the use for me of the influencer name. Another two important things to understand my opinion expressed in the consultation and in the video we have here. Two things. First, there is a law in France which called la loi Evin sur l'alcoolisme et le tabagisme. The Evin, it's the name of the political person who wrote this law. So Mr. Evin did a law about smoking and alcoholism in 1991. You will have the link below. Of course, it would be in French, but I'm sure you can find some summaries in English about it. Basically, it was a law who was explaining how to promote, how to organize the promotion and how things are set up in places, restaurant, bars, etc., where you can find alcohol. So what the companies, the places have to show to the audience and how. But there's also something that directly linked to our discussion here about promotion in the public space. So to give you just a very, very quick thing, in the public promotion of whiskey in France, you only have the right to tell people, I mean, in the streets or magazines, etc., about how your whiskey is made, how the ABV, etc., age, details about how it's made, the terroir, speak about terroir, you have the right about that, and you have the right to disclose the awards that whiskey had, but you don't have the right to tell things related to pleasure, to drink it, and deliciousness, stuff like that. You don't have the right to go into that, right? Second and last disclaimer, I'm expressing my point of view there from where I am as a consumer, as a passionate guy about whiskey writer, whiskey blogger, YouTuber, blah blah blah. But I have to tell you also that I have been in the past for some years a member of, in France we call it CHSCT, in English it's HSC. So it's part of something in which in your company, in where you work, it's a committee which gathers people from syndicates and from the leaders of the company, whether it's public or private, by the way, and you, as a member of it, you have your say about everything related to health and security. And I will explain that further on, I've been a witness of a lot of things related to alcohol. So my point of view, and I'm sure it will not please to everyone, I try to have a nuanced opinion with weighting the pro and cons in what I answered. Right. I spoke about that already. Yeah, so it's a complex debate, it's what I want to say. Yeah, we'll get back to the cons later on. Right, so to get now into the consultation, I hope this is not going to be too long, but so yeah, this is how Blair showed the consultation organized by the Scottish government. Once again, lots of documentations of here. I just printed the first pages, and also, yeah, so how does it work? So they say, we know that not everyone will wish or feel able to answer all the questions of this consultation. You're encouraged to answer the question you'd like to respond to. You don't have to respond to all of them. There are 50 questions. The links in the table below correspond to the pages within the consultation. Blah, 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 blah. You can click to continue to return and choose the next page to view, or you can also save and come back later. Also, if you wish to, your answers can be public and with your name and etc. If you wish to only, but be prepared if you do that, as I did. You can be contacted by the Scottish government for further details about your opinion. I don't know, maybe participate by email, I don't know, to the consultation in a way. But I chose this option. I will probably get some heat about what I said in those answers, but well, it's my choice. I will give you the main topics and then a few questions. Then you receive highlighted some. You receive the in a mail when you answer the totality of the question and answers, so you can go back to them in debates. So very interesting to get that, I think. So here's about some of the themes quickly. Declaration of direct, of course, preamble to everything, of direct and indirect links to the alcohol industry. Why do we need to take action? What is the current regulatory system? Sports and event sponsorship, outdoor and public spaces marketing. What is the current regulatory system in-store alcohol marketing? This is also important. Brand sharing and merchandise, lots of things. Print advertising, online marketing, television and radio advertising, cinema advertising, etc., etc. So these are the questions you can have. The topics. And yeah, this is how it looks like. Second question. What is sponsorship? Do you think we should prohibit alcohol sports sponsorship in Scotland? And you will be shocked, but I answered yes. And I will explain you why. So this is what it looks like. I will explain why I answered that later on in the cons. Because of course I'm going to take the defense of the whiskey industry as well. But it's a mix. So, Shall I get into this before? Yeah, I will give you a few answers and questions, and then I will go to the pro and cons about restricting alcohol. New restrictions about alcohol. Yeah, sports sponsorship in Scotland. Maybe I should explain pro and cons before, but okay, let's do that, and after, because I'm in the general presentation, right? Yes, we should prohibit alcohol sports sponsorship in Scotland. Please explain for each question your answer in the text box. You have a few lines. I understand it has it's what I answered, a huge impact on the youth, so it should not be done the way it is right now, but maybe in an anonymous or close to it in a way, such as sponsorship companies available on demand formula. I know it's not cool, but it's a tough one regarding money profit for companies, but it's also one of the most critical to protect our youth, and you'll see who is more targeted by this. Yeah, I also added in the next question, which is very close, add a warning message about alcohol risks and minors' situation regarding alcohol. Then, do you think it's related? Question 5, do you think you should prohibit alcohol event sponsorship in Scotland? Events, not only and then I said no, because the problem is this: yes, no, and don't know are the answers. So sometimes it's my answer is rather maybe or partly only. So in that case I said no, but I meant maybe. It depends on which one is my answer. Everything related to youth, sports and TV should be prohibited sponsorship-wise, it's my opinion, but not those related to education, gastronomy, hospitality, trade, tourism, whiskey and other spirits, breweries, distilleries should be allowed, granted that minors will not have access to it. So you see, it's a quite complicated topic. Same when question 6 about what types of marketing should be covered by prohibition. There's that full-size publics, street, subway, buses, etc., alcohol advertisement, but not those specialized in food, tourism, wine and spirits, magazine, online websites, everything related to visitor centers of distilleries, breweries, wineries. So it's quite a complicated topic, because pro and cons I will explain. In one hand, have to be taking care of what I see our youth, which is even in France, but I understand it's even more critical in Scotland, and I have figures and facts about that. So we have to take this into account at a certain extent, but in another hand we also have to protect the for that case the Scottish economy, in whiskey industry economy. It goes then. I'm not going to give you all my question answers. What can I give you other examples? Yeah, there's one that's quite long. Yeah, do you think that we should prohibit the sale of alcohol branded merchandise in Scotland? I wanted to have a mixed answer, so I had don't know, but I explain that further on. I understand the need to do restriction to branded merchandise in Scotland, but I am also conscious that eliminating any possibility of branded merch would cause economical issues that are the cons about this future law, because there's going to be a law about that. It causes issues to the whiskey and spirit industry, especially regarding craft companies. this one might be one of the most impacted because it's quite remote in North Scotland, and those are island distilleries or highlands, coastal distilleries. This is also that case. I mean, all these are small companies, small craft distilleries, and I will go back to it, but that's also the point. What else did I say? So we'll rather suggest limited to items sold outside distilleries, visitor centers, outside their online shop. And I said in my own touristic experience, it is mainly, if not only, people interested in whiskey and other spirits that are going that far, visit distilleries, etc. I mean, visit distilleries and buy branded merchandise. The other people buying branded merchandise are mainly people who will buy it on general online shops or big platforms, which I'm not sure you can interact with, to be honest. Also, I don't see why branded merchandise is still available to minors, mind you. Maybe we could start by that, etc. I also explain in another question. Yeah, I have to go back to this in the pro and cons. Online marketing. I did a very long answer to it. I'm not gonna read you now. Yeah, online channels, of course, I have to speak about that. I say they belong to GAFA, I mean big companies, so it will be complicated to do restrictions, while for instance for violence, videos about violence, etc., we'll see a lot of things are not restricted often or enough. And also I don't see why a YouTuber speaking about whiskey and not saying you have to drink it all in a week or in a day would be banned or have issues, while in another hand a video I did report about, you won't believe me maybe, but I did report it, a video in which a guy was explaining how to drink a bottle of Jack Daniels in 20 seconds or 1 minute. Or so this is a kind of things I absolutely not agree about, and I understand that could have problems regarding censorship. This is not a problem for me, that this kind of channel or video which is only promoted binge drinkings and breaking records of alcohol consumption could have censorship or warning, etc. So this is not a problem for me. This is completely different from responsible drinking, which I'm promoting here on my channel and on my website. Besides, I'm one of the very first to have had a section in my website about whiskey in which I speak about health risks related to alcohol. I know the English translation is only a little summary at the end, but if I can, I will extend it. I have a lot of issues with my website, so at the moment I'm more speaking on YouTube and on Instagram, but it's another question. Right, there's also television, radio advertising, etc. I really am not, and there's the example of Norway and Sweden regulations. Not going to go much into more about that, then go to the pro and cons. The pro, this is the part where I'm going to lose some of you. Excuse me. I know that, and probably Blair as well, because here we come to the pros about restricting alcohol more than now. This, you will see it below. It's the Scottish Health Survey. This one is from 2018, but it was revised in 2020. From Cabinet Secretary for Health and Social Care. So it's official statistics. So there's an increase of alcohol consumption in UK, but also I have the NHS statistics for England as well. But in Scotland since 2013, just not really all, but just a summary, hazardous and harmful drinking over 14 units a week has remained at similar levels, but we will see there some increase. 24% of adults drank at hazardous and harmful levels, sorry for my accent. The same figure as 2017. I saw more alarming ones. What else do we got here? Yeah, I have officials, and I have an association, a group. It's called Alcohol Focus Scotland. I will also tell you about that. This is maybe more evident there. Yeah, the mean number of days of which adult drinkers drank alcohol increased from 2.0 to 3.6 for some. Percentage of men drinking more than 4 units on an heaviest drinking day declined from 2003 from 2018. Yeah, so they explain also about risk of high blood risks about alcohol: high blood pressure, chronic liver disease, cirrhosis, pancreatitis, cancers, mental ill health, and accidents, of course linked to driving. I always said, if you drink alcohol even a bit, don't drive at all. It's my position. Nothing. Also, there are established links now between harmful drinking and the incidence of infection disease such as tuberculosis and HIV/AIDS. In 2016, yeah, it goes back a few years ago. Alcohol use was the 7th leading risk factor from premature death and disability worldwide, and was the highest risk factor among population from 15 to 49 years old. The World Health Organization cites 3 million deaths in 2016 related to the harmful use of alcohol, etc., etc. What other figures? I think probably the other one will be more, the alcohol focus Scotland will be better, because I read it and forgot. Around 23% of people in Scotland drink at hazardous, harmful levels, defined as more than 14 units per week. Drinking more than 14 units a week, so unit, I guess it's as in France 4 cl, something like that. In France it's considered as you have to drink maximum 3 a day for a man and 2 for a woman. It's the way health organization says that, it's not me. It's written very small, I'm sorry. So yeah, alcohol related death in Scotland, from National Records of Scotland 2022, there have been 1,245 alcohol specific deaths in 2021, where alcohol was the underlying cause of death, and an increase of 5% on 2022, and 836 where of those deaths were men, 409 were women. So yeah, they say that male have generally tended to make up around 2/3 of alcohol specific death in Scotland in recent years. Mortality rate for the age of 54 to 64 2024 are the highest and have been the highest since the data was first available. There have been, listen to that, 35,124 alcohol-related hospital admissions with stays in Scotland in 2020 and 2021. And even if they say we're 10% lower in general hospitals, it's still a lot. Yeah, again, alcohol and inequalities. I'm not going to read it all. There's a link to it, so yeah, and even 84% of Scots thought alcohol causes either a great deal or quite a lot of harm in Scotland. Yeah, alcohol-related trauma in Scotland, 33% of major trauma patient. Alcohol related crime in Scotland, 44% of, yeah, this is important, 44% of violent crime is alcohol related, from Scottish Crime and Justice Survey in 2020. Homicide, etc. I won't go too much into that, but you see the pictures. And the cost, yeah, 36 billions of pounds are the cost in health, social care, crime, productive capacity, and wider costs. Yeah, so it's huge. Okay, enough of this. It's big. So this was the part about this policy that the Scottish government wants to have a new law, and that's why they are consulting before they're gonna say they're gonna propose some laws and the deputies gonna vote. There's some statements that did get some heat, and I understand why, from some deputies in Scotland. One said something like, I don't see why whiskey should be considered as something else than any other spirits. Every whiskey is the same, every spirit is the same, it's alcohol. I don't agree with that, but I agree it's still alcohol and we have to take care of how we consume it. Right. Now, the cons of restricting more alcohol, but again, with a lot of nuances. It's facts and figures. Scotch whisky contributes to around 10% of UK's economy. But even that number doesn't take into account tourism revenues due to whisky-related activity, accommodation, restaurants, tourist shop, transportation. I mean, everything in a small city like bakery or everything related to local activity. Yeah, and that's where I'm gonna speak very quickly about this article of the Herald, and also some facts and figures of Scotch Whisky Association. You have everything linked in the description. So the Herald, in an article, in a recent article, I think it was last week, explained that Scotland's 84 million of pounds. It's what the whiskey tourism sector gets and contributes to economy. It's under threat, he says. So it's Andrew Learman speaking there. Under threat from government plans to ban alcohol advertising, industry bosses have warned. And yeah, Gordon Morrison, the CEO of Association of Scottish Visitor Attractions, told Harold the measures being proposed by ministers could have a huge impact on both international tourism and local communities. Yeah, so as he says, the consultation launched late last year. It started in November 2022, but we were not aware, most of us, especially here in France, were not aware about it before very late of 2022 and even beginning of this year. But I didn't thought it was possible for you and me to have our say. The consultation, he says, proposed a number of measures to try and tackle what is described as Scotland's deep, long-standing and troubled relationship with alcohol. Banning adverts on billboards and in newspaper magazine also proposes to end merchandise with alcohol branding, which could see distilleries and breweries unable to sell t-shirt and glassware. It also suggests drinks firms to be banned from sponsoring sport and cultural events. If all the measures being consulted and passed into law, it could even mean shops have to hide their alcohol. It is not exactly what I understand from the law, but the proposals that are explained in this consultation, but it's very close, because it asks if people think we should, for instance, put barriers or place alcohol stacks, shelves into specific place in shops, so that could not be seen by everyone. Stuff like that. Not sure it's a great issue, but I understand, for instance, when you get to the cashier, not to have a lot of things related to alcohol to push you to buy them, especially if it's in the vision to people who are very young, etc. But in theory, those people don't have the right to buy. But there's a lot of binge drinking in UK. That's the problem, and in Scotland in particular. There's also here in France, but it seems to be way higher there. The fact that you're effectively prohibiting the sale of any alcohol branded merch of any kind would impact many tourism businesses, not just the distilleries. And this goes to my point of, this is related to culture, this is related to tradition, to terroir in a way, but it's whiskey, unlike I think any other. Of course, wine comes first, but the thing is, of course, this consultation is about whiskey and gin, most probably. So let's not face this with hypocrisy. It is about whiskey industry. But in my opinion, I'm not sure, for instance, everything that's on the table do participate to binge drinking, because it's not cheap. Most of the people, they will get drunk with cheap stuff. Of course, you can be drunk with this. I'm not saying that. The contrary. But when I see people in the streets, when you hear about that, when you ask people, it's not with those kind of things, craft stuff and single malts, etc., that people most of the time will be drunk with. But it's beer, it's wine, or I don't know, in UK, in Scotland specifically, but I heard it's more about beer and cheap, low shelf, cheap whiskey, stuff like that, and other spirits, vodka, etc. And also, this doesn't speak about the premix, where they say not ready to drinks, but so that you see those things which mixes vodka and beer or vodka and soda, stuff like that. Those are way more, in my opinion, linked to binge drinking. But And yeah, I forgot to say in my work, and this was among the pro, not the cons, in different occasions of my work, I had to face for real people getting completely crazy or bad with alcohol abuse. I've seen some terrible scenes. We had in the HSC committee to ban certain things, for instance, free beers offered for some occasions in the year. 10 years ago, this was a kind of practice when you were going to the what's the name in English? You know, collective restauration collective in companies. I mean, when you go to the company's restaurant, let's say that, and you see, and they were offering free drinks at some point for special events. Our problem is the people, some of the people, most of the people were taking one glass of beer and it's okay. But there were some people, a handful, okay, but they were taking several ones over and over and harassing the people who was close to that. Also saw ravages in everyday work, people coming to work, sometimes working with machines with dangerous potential, being already drunk at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, lots of things I saw that I cannot be not sensitive to. But yeah, on the other hand, there's the whole Scottish economy. So yeah, the Herald article speaks about that. SW, of course, gives you figures. Yeah, in 2021, Scotch whisky exports were worth 4.5 billions of pounds. 75 of Scottish food and drink export percent. There you go. That's the one I wanted. The Scotch whisky industry provides 5.5 billion pounds in gross value added GVA to the UK economy. More than 11,000 people are directly employed in the Scotch whisky industry in Scotland, and over 42,000 jobs across the UK are supported by the industry. 7,000 of these jobs in rural areas of Scotland, providing vital employment and investment to communities across Highlands and Islands. Yeah, in 2019 there were 2.2 million visits to Scotch whisky distilleries, making the industry the third most popular tourist attraction in Scotland. I think this says it all. Right, so this is a long video, I knew it, but this is there, this is there. And yes, this is about experts. This is also SWA. This is less important for this topic. We will see that. And yeah, to almost conclude, so this, when I heard about this law, I thought immediately of this is getting into how did I say that, because this debate, the restrictions suggested there for me are close to alcohol ban or partial prohibition. This is getting aligned with the tobacco restrictions, and people know I'm not a fan of cigarettes. I suffered a lot in the past of passive smoking. But I think this comes into a general context of international politics, call for, like I said in the description, for a call for control of everything we do, with the excuse of taking care of our health. But like I said, strangely not much about toxic additives in food and agriculture, refined sugar, salt, everything that should logically be banned or restricted, right? So this is quite hypocritical. Also, like I said, a bit provocatively, if we follow this logic, the text is not, the consultation, mind you, is not about alcohol ban, but it's very close. I mean, it's not about, it's not about labels in bottles. But my thumbnail, a bit provocative, and also my start of reflection, I will come back to it, because I'm sure we'll have to come back to it. In France, you have the logo of the pregnant woman on the back, on theory, but sometimes on the front of the bottles. Yeah, you can see it there. But we're in kind of obsession of preventing people for basically it's a long debate, forget it. So I worked very quickly and a bit more lightly on how whiskey label could look like in the near future, and there are two options. First one could be this, and by the way, the bottle is this. Sorry, I didn't print it in color, I couldn't, but basically you understand this is circle in red, and inside it's in black. So this is the first step. It could look like. And the second step, which for me, I'm almost sure, like for cigarette, it's gonna look like that someday, I'm sure, with some cancer of the throat there image. Terrible. It's like it was an old school death metal album cover, right? Self-forbidden to minors, I'm completely agreeing with that. Not recommended for drivers, I also agree with that. But yeah, danger, alcohol abuse, blah blah blah. We know that. We know that. I mean, would you see that on the a box of sugar? Or would you see that on a food source which is very rich, which has a lot of fat? No. So, just saying. So I hope this was interesting and not too much confusing. The records, the figures about the alcohol progression, I don't have them all. It's very intricate in the numbers I had, so I just quickly browsed in it for the video, but I've seen them increasing. Believe me or not, or do your own searches. So there you have it. If you agree, if you disagree, please. If you wish to, of course, we don't care. I mean, everybody's free. But if you have interest in whiskey, you're here for that. And you want to influence or give more wider perspective to the Scottish deputies who's going to vote about this when a proposal will come at the Scottish Parliament summarizing what the commission who will work on those laws will give his final say before the vote. Maybe they could take into account your point of view, whether you're pro or con these disposals, these proposals. So answer to the Scottish government. Thanks, and tell me what you think about that, if you like, in the comment section. But and if you think, and if you tell me if you think you want to participate to this, and your thoughts about that shortly as you can. I know it's a complicated debate, but I hope I did the debate justice. I'm not sure completely. But yeah, I answered. It's a lot of pages. I cannot summarize them all. But yeah, there you have it.